Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel. Today I want to chat with you guys about 4 reasons I think many of us have had trouble keeping our weight off. Let's get right into it. I've lost and gained weight several different times from age 14 and on, and I'm going to tell you from my opinion and my observation 4 reasons why I think many of us struggle with it. And you can share your opinion in the comments below. First one is, and I think this is huge, many people label food as good or bad. And obviously we know that if you're going to eat a plate of brownies, many people would say, hey, eating sugar is not good. Okay, I'm going to agree with you. Sugar is not something we probably need to have in our eating plan, right? Have you noticed that people that have never struggled with their weight, they have a cookie, they have a brownie, and they don't gain weight? What I've noticed is they maybe just have it, they don't make a big deal out of it, and they go on with their day. They eat what they want, but they probably eat in moderation. Well, when you go on a, quote, healthy eating plan or diet, whatever you want to call it, and you let family and friends know, hey, I'm going to be going on a low-carb diet. You go to a family gathering and you eat a brownie and someone says, hey, is that on your eating plan? Is that on your diet? You're going to gain your weight back. Why are you eating that? And people will say things like that, which makes it feel like a punishment, and then you feel like you can never ever have any of the foods that you enjoy ever again. And so they deem food as a good or bad thing rather than, hey, we can allow some of these in moderation occasionally, but just not something that we eat in huge quantities every day. So I think that's a big thing. Number 2, portions, which I know people have spoken about this, but I've really been shocked at what a portion size is. The other day, I saw some trail mix I wanted to buy at Aldi. And it was this Cajun trail mix, and I've purchased it before, and it's delicious. But I thought I want to just see what a portion is on there and how many calories. It was 180 calories, if I'm not mistaken. And a portion was 1/4 cup. Okay, here's my handy-dandy magnifying glass. Let's see if I could... Oh, there that portion is. You could barely see it. How many people are going to measure out 1/4 of a cup of trail mix? I mean, think about what else you could eat for 180 calories, right? I think that the portions, people would be really surprised. You're eating a lot more than you really realize you're eating, and we're used to eating all of that food, and we're used to a lot larger portions. People say if they come to Texas and they go to a restaurant, they're like, oh my gosh, so instead of getting like a burrito, which would be kind of small, they're getting 2. Okay, and so you're getting twice as much. That's why people sometimes share meals, because they're getting so much. Well, if you got a whole bunch of food on your plate and you're used to eating that and your stomach stretches out, it's going to take an adjustment over a period of time to start eating less food. So if you're used to eating 3,000 calories a day and all of a sudden your doctor says, I want you eating 1,500, to go from 3,000 to 1,500 would be a shock on your system, and you may need to take it gradually. So I think if we really started measuring all of our food, it would be a wake-up call for many of us. I know for me it is. Okay, number 3, and I think this is huge. When I was young, and I've mentioned this before, it was not acceptable to be overweight, okay? I was born in 1965. Back then, you had very few clothing choices. When I was a junior, I guess you would call it, or junior size, you had a choice between size 3, 5, 7, or 9, and occasionally Sears or Montgomery Ward or JCPenney's had a size 13, okay? And I think it was only Montgomery Ward's that had occasional size 15. They didn't go up any bigger than that. If you went up bigger than that, you wore polyester from the women's section, which you did not want to do. So imagine if the only size they had was, they didn't go above size 16 in women's or 14 in women's. Or you had to special order your clothes and it was, a lot more money. Well, you might actually not be able to, or you would actually probably lose weight and keep it off because there weren't options for clothing. And that's kind of what it was. It's so acceptable now to be overweight, and so many people around us are overweight and eating enormous amounts of food. We're surrounded by food, especially here where I live in the DFW area. There's so many restaurants. We're surrounded by people that are overweight and are eating all the time. And so because of that, it's so much more acceptable. And so we don't even think anything about it. If we had to move to, say, Europe or something, and I'll give you an example of this, One of my friends, her son did an exchange program. He was a, average sized kid. He went over to, and I don't remember what country it was. He went over to a country in Europe, and they did not snack there. And when he had dinner, lunch, breakfast, their portions were a lot less than what he was accustomed to. He said he was hungry all the time. He would have to, before he came home from school, he'd have to go somewhere and buy a snack because he was just starving because the portions were not what he was accustomed to having. We're used to having so many portions, being surrounded by food all the time and being surrounded by people that are larger, and it's so much more acceptable to be that way compared to, say, when I grew up. Let me know if any of this is, or if any of this is relatable to you. Last but not least, number 4, we are looking for a quick fix. We want the next best thing. Everybody promises they have the magic formula, and they'll even say things, oh, you've heard it before. Exercise more and eat less. That's the magic formula. But, and they'll just tell you that they have the magic formula of how to lose weight, and this is the only way. Well, there might be a quote, some way to lose the weight, and that sounds wonderful. A lot of times, though, it's restrictive. You're restricting food groups, and is that something that you can do for the rest of your life? Whatever it is, however we want to lose weight, is it a way that we can lose weight, keep it off, and live on that plan for every day for the rest of your life? Can that be an absolute permanent change? There is a reason 90 to 95% of people gain their weight back. It's because they haven't found that permanent change. So I think these are 4 reasons why, and I'm not sure what the answer is. I'm just being honest with you guys. Let me know your feelings of why you think many people gain their weight back, and do you think there's any truth to this? Now imagine this. I'll just end with saying this. Imagine if all of us had to go live into a community, kind of like, when they've done wife swap, things like that. We had to go live in a community like the blue zones where whatever we're eating, whatever we're doing is no longer available, and we had to live a different life where we were outside all the time, we were gardening, we were walking, we were moving, and we had to cook everything from scratch. We weren't thinking about food all the time, and we just lived a totally different lifestyle, and all the other people around us were living that lifestyle too. We would probably, and I've known of people that have done that, have gone to live in a different country, and they come back really thin because they went and they lived a lifestyle that wasn't surrounded by food all the time, and they were constantly active outside, and they were eating a totally different way, but they were around other people doing the same thing. So let me know what you guys think of this discussion. I love you, I appreciate you, and I love reading your comments. I hope to see you on tomorrow morning's video. Bye-bye now.